Recording in progress. Recording stopped.
super excited to be here with every single one of y'all, family. Go ahead and drop those locations in the chat. All right, because we are live right now, baby. And we're back for a weekly, or more so like an end of the day recap of what happened today. So it's going to be a good one, family. I see we got Dallas in the building. The boy Reap in the house. What's up? Trinidad in the building. We got Colombo, Sri Lanka. What's up? Michigan, West Virginia. All right, shout out to C-Max for sure. All right, shout out to all you guys that are also smashing that like button. It's very, very appreciated. Truly, from the bottom of my heart, we appreciate you for supporting the channel. All right, see we got Vermont in the building. My guy Kyle, Dallas, Baltimore in the house. Shout out to my Baltimore familia in the building. All right, we still got to go ahead and catch that Ravens game. Let's actually set up a time. Let's set up a date for that Baltimore's Ravens game. I'm with it. All right, so we got Jersey in the building. What's up? We got Michigan, Alabama, Stockton, California, Oklahoma City in the building. Charlotte, what's up? Stand up. I appreciate every single one of you guys for being with us today, right? Being here with us today. Super excited to be able to be with you guys tonight. And hopefully just really, give you guys a little bit more knowledge, right? Help you guys out overall throughout this journey that you guys are on. And just to really clarify a lot of things, we actually did have a really, really, really good trading morning this morning inside of the Profit Society, a platform itself, guys, trading New York session live. We had a really good time. So with these calls here on Asian, it's pretty much just a recap of what happened during the day throughout New York session. And also if there's anything that we could look forward to going into tonight London session and New York session, that is definitely something that we're also going to be talking about as well, guys. But for the most part, like I said, it is going to be an absolute banger of a session. We're here to provide value. We're here to answer questions, provide some clarity, and ultimately just, help everybody get better at the end of the day, right? Now, before we even go ahead and get into anything crazy, I actually want to talk about something real quick, right? Because I actually got this question a lot lately in regards to how much money a trader should start with, right? I've been getting a lot of questions as to should people start with, larger sum of capital right away, and the reason why people are asking is because obviously, if you're trading on a smaller account, you're not going to be satisfied with making $1, $2 a week, right? That's not motivating, so what most people's mindset is, they want to actually go ahead and start with a lot more capital, right? $500,000, $5,000, so that they're actually able to see faster and quicker returns, right? Now, if that's you guys, if you've been considering on if you should start with larger capital, right? Well, I got 3 questions that I want to ask you, right? I want you guys to write down these questions too. It's very, very important for you guys to understand this, right? I need you guys to answer these 3 questions, okay? Question number 1, if you have large amount of capital and you want to trade with large amount of capital, do you currently have a trading plan? Right, that should be number 1. Right, do you have a trading plan? Right, I mean this should really correlate with any type of capital, right? But definitely if you're trying to trade with, larger capital, right? Than what most people are trading, right? Again, keep in mind, guys, most traders are normally starting off with $100, $200, $300, $400, $500, right? But there is some of you guys that want to go ahead and deposit a few thousand, 5,000, 10,000, right? But the first question is, do you currently have a trading plan that is pretty much breaking down a detailed version of exactly what you're looking for? No trading plan, you have no business trading with large capital, right? The second question you need to ask yourself, okay, is do you understand risk management? Very important, right? We talk about risk management so often, not just on this channel, guys, but I mean every platform that we're on. We always talk about the importance of risk management. Right, and I get most of you guys are probably going to say, yeah, I understand risk management, but do you really? Right, do you really understand risk management? Do you understand the main components that make up of risk management? Right, like risk per trade, max risk per day, overall risk exposure. Like, do you really understand all these concepts? Right, because it's one thing knowing about it, but then there's another thing understanding, right? Knowing and understanding, guys, are 2 completely things. You might know of something, but understanding is a whole different ballgame. Right? There's a lot of people that know about risk management, but there's very few that truly understand it. And then there's even very few on top of that actually have the discipline to truly follow it. Right? So if you don't understand risk management or you lack the discipline to follow it, you have no business trying to trade larger capital. You're only going to blow that account. And then the third question, guys, right, is have you back tested your strategy and proven that it's a winning system? I think so many of us, guys, we're so focused on trying to get the results right away, right? We want to get the results right now, right, on the front end of the process. But that's not how trading is, right? Professional traders, guys, they get paid on the back end, right? They get paid after years and years and years of experience, right? But they also get paid after they have a trading plan, understand risk management, and have actually tested their strategy and have found it to actually be a winning strategy, a winning system. Right? So if you cannot answer yes to these three questions, then family, you have no business trying to trade larger capital, right? I promise you, take it from me. You're only going to blow it, right? It's not the amount of money that's in your trading account, guys, that's dictating whether you're seeing results or not. It's you. Because if you cannot turn $100 into $1,000 utilizing proper risk management, then you're not turning 1,000 into 10,000, right? And so on and so forth. You're not turning 10,000 into 20,000, right? If you can't do it on a smaller account, then what's the difference between going to a larger account, right? Your risk management is still going to be the same. If you're over leveraging on a smaller account, you're going to over leverage on a larger one. That's just the reality, guys. All right. So again, I get it. A lot of traders, they want to come in and they want to see they want to see some results. I get it, right? But remember what I just said. Professionals monetize or focused on a monetization from the process on the back end. Right now on the front end, we focus on actually learning a strategy, right? We focus on make sure that strategy is actually a winning strategy. We focus on creating a trading plan around that strategy, right? And then we also focus on practicing proper risk management. That's what professionals do. So let's make sure that we are approaching this thing the correct way, family, so that we are here long term. Right, if your goal is to just trade for the next year and that's it, 2 years and that's it, you just want some quick money, I mean, that's you. But I'm telling you right now, you're not going to get what you're looking for. But if your goal is to be here for the next 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, right, and you're able to monetize this skill set for the next 40, 50, 60 years, then yeah, please trust what I'm saying, right? Because I was that person, guys, that thought more money would equate to much more profits. And all I did was, just blow the account and cause myself even more headaches, right? So, but that's just something I want to talk to you guys about today to start you guys off with, because it is very important, right? It is absolutely very, very important, guys. We cannot try to rush the process. We have to trust the process, right? Write that in the chat, guys. Write that in the chat. Don't rush the process. Trust the process, right? I know it might be a lengthy sentence, but I know some of you guys got some speedy fingers, right? Don't rush the process. You have to truly trust this process, right? Over time, yeah, your account will grow. Over time, yeah, the profits that you start to make are going to be life-changing. But again, don't forget the over time part, right? Over time. That's what most people continuously overlook, the over time part, right? So don't rush the process, guys. Trust the process. And I promise you, you guys will get all the results that you guys are absolutely after. I guarantee it. I guarantee it, right? All right, so without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and see.
Hold on. What's good, bro? Before you even jump into that, could I jump in real quick?
Of course. We got the guys, Skags, in the building.
One thing real quick, you might want to jack up your volume a little bit. I think there were a few comments that said it was a little hard to hear you.
Let's see what we got here. I got you.
I hear you good on Zoom, but I think on the stream it's a little bit different.
Yeah, I'll turn it up.
And then two, while he fixes that, guys, I just want to what he just went over. First off, major keys, right? If you guys are not implementing proper risk and money management, don't even bother making larger deposits. I would also say utilize funded accounts to prove to yourself that you can trade on larger capital is always a cheaper way to do that, right? You can get access to a 20K, 50K. Not saying that you need it, but you should at least prove to yourself that you can trade with that type of capital and at least be able to get a reward from it. Because, you could just make a demo account with the amount that you want to, use to trade. However, at least with the funded accounts, you can still get paid. And then two, for those of you that are on your own researching things like risk management for education and all that, fun stuff, I would advise you also to, instead of just using risk management as your search term or, as you're like reading books and stuff, like don't just look up risk management, look up money management. Because the way that I define risk management actually has nothing to do with lot sizing or risk percentage or risk per trades. That all falls under the category of money management, right? Because it's in regards to the actual money. Risk management, however, for me is more defined as I define it as the potential of success of your trade, right? So are you at 80% chance winning? Are you at 70% chance winning? Is this like a 25%? Is this like a risky trade? Right. So risk management for me is defined as the potential success rate of a trade, whereas money management is everything to do with that. The reason why I've kind of defined that is because in my journey of mastering the money management side, because for a while, not for a while, but when I hit a point of profitability, I also hit a wall where it was like I was able to make money, but I struggled to get to like the next level. And you guys are gonna find this, right? You're gonna find it easy to make $250, $500, right? But you're gonna find it hard to make 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. So it's like, okay, cool, you've achieved some level of success, but you still need to again now break that ceiling and continue to go. And this is gonna happen at all levels, right? This is never gonna change. It's like even when you make your first 100,000, it's like, all right, cool, now I know how to make 100,000, and that becomes easier and easier. But then you're sitting there like, okay, I want to get to 250, but you're gonna find that's gonna be again a little bit harder psychologically. There's gonna be barriers in the way. So I would urge you guys to read books on money management, right? Look into that. It is a little bit different of a category, right? So it'll expand your mind to different ways to again, play with the money management side of things. So that's just my little add on for that. Sorry to kind of hijack you there, bro, but I wanted to just contribute to that conversation because I think it's very, very, very important.
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely appreciate the value you just dropped for sure. Right, just understanding the difference for sure is definitely something that a lot of people lack. So yeah, no, very important, bro, for sure. But all right, family, let's go ahead and see what we pretty much had to deal with overall so far for the week in terms of news. We did have a bunch of CPI data that actually did get released for the most part. But let's actually just talk about what happened today, right? Was there anything crazy with today? The initial jobless claims came out a little bit lower, right? So less people filed for unemployment. Cool. Existing home sales just went up a little bit. Cool. Now, what do we have to worry about for tomorrow? We do have retail sales for the pound tomorrow. We have core retail sales for the CAD as well. And then we have the EU Leaders Summit tomorrow, right? So nothing too crazy besides, again, maybe these little retail sales releases. Obviously, with this whole EU Leaders Summit, this is going to be very interesting just to see, what they're going to discuss and things like that, right? But for the most part, guys, nothing too crazy that happened today, and nothing too crazy going into tomorrow in terms of news, right? So let's go ahead and get straight into the technicals, right, and really look at the markets, guys, and see what actually happened, right? Now, the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is this gold opportunity, right? Because this is the one opportunity that I actually looked at this morning with you guys. I was looking to actually go ahead and go short over here, right, and this level right here. I was actually short right there in that the yellow dot right there, and that's from a trade idea that we spoke about yesterday, right? But it was actually able to get triggered today during New York session today, right? So again, it's a setup that we looked at way over here, right? We wanted the price to come here and then drop, but it did take some time to make its way over there. Right now, for this trade setup, obviously, guys, you guys can see what actually happened. We did end up dropping pretty nicely, right? Ended up dropping for around 80 pips or so before this thing completely just rebounded. Right now, full transparency, I ended up I definitely completely mismanaged this position because I closed partial profits, right, but not nearly as much, right? I only closed like 15-20% of the trade, and after being up 80 pips, I definitely probably should have closed a lot more, right? But I ended up going break even, so I did only make about 15% on this only about 15% on this trade. So nothing too crazy, nothing outstanding at all. But what I did do, right, is when the market did actually come back, I was able to actually catch another re-entry, right? Because for me, guys, my bias has been the same for gold for a while, right? I've been bearish. And I think we still have, some more downside to go here for gold, in my opinion. So I'm still very much looking for some more shorting opportunities. I think at this point, there's a very good chance that we do end up coming and running this 1570, you know, potentially, right? If we can actually go ahead and clear these lows, which it could happen very soon, right? Then yeah, I think the next level of real structure support will be all the way around this 1580 level. So I'm bearish. I like the continuations for this, as you know, for sure. But yeah, I was able to catch an entry, guys, literally right around. Let me actually see what my entry was. Right, and it's just me again keeping the same bias in mind, right? Even though I got stopped out, it is what it is, right? Stopped out at break even. You know, the market is gonna do what it does. Pretty much almost every single pair, guys, pretty much did like a U-turn around 11, 12, 1 o'clock. So a lot of the moves did it. But overall, my entry was at 1642.42, 1642.42. So my entry was up here. Like I said, I had a pretty nasty entry. And it's just because I was expecting the market to, again, give us this push down. So although I only made small gains on this one, you know, I was able to still keep my cool, you know, think logically, and then just look for the next opportunity. You know, and I ended up taking this short up here, guys, once we ended up seeing the market come back down, right? Break back below structure. You know, and now we're currently sitting in, I mean, this is a big bag. Right now we're up around 150 pips. You know, I did end up closing around half of my position pretty much, and the other half I'm just gonna let it ride out. You know, I'm just gonna see if we can go ahead and look for some continuations, guys, because that's gonna be my play for tonight going into tomorrow, right? It's just to look for some more continuations. But that doesn't mean I want to go ahead and sell from down here, right? I'm not interested in selling from down here, right? There's a good chance that the market could actually react back up from right there, right? So I don't want to sell from right here, right? But I do want to prepare myself for the sell whenever it does happen. Okay, so I don't want to sell from down there, but if we're able to see a pullback in the market, then yeah, I would be very interested in looking for some shorting opportunity. Right, the area that I want to see price come up and reach towards, guys, is going to be this area up here. You know, this level of structure right here, right around that 1638.5 level. So by New York session, there's a very good chance we're actually trading up towards that level. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna be very, very interested, guys, in taking advantage of if we're able to see price really come back up there, right? It's gonna be something like an opportunity like this, right? Big shout out to our newest subscriber. I appreciate you for rocking with us, right? Hopefully you subscribe because you're getting some value, right? But big shout out to you, right? But you know, something like this, guys, might not be a bad opportunity, right? Just really sticking with the overall order flow of this market. You know, sticking with what gold has, I mean, pretty much been doing since the beginning of this year, all right? Since March, at least, since they started raising rates. And now it's just a matter of targeting these, you know, these lows that we have here, right? So I think there's a good chance for this. We just have to see, you know, some type of a pullback, right? Now let's go ahead and let's break it down a little bit more, right? Because obviously this is a long ways to go, right? This is over 100 pips back to the upside. So is there a chance for us to actually capitalize, right, on a move higher, right? I mean, there is a chance, right? There's always chances for a lot of things, right? But we need to see evidence of it. Right now, we have this big sell-off, and then we just have the market just going sideways, right? But we need some evidence, guys, that there is going to be some buying momentum truly coming in, right? Because trying to buy right now, although it is possible, and although I think there is a good chance for it to happen, it's still going against this massive sell-off that we just seen, right? That broke major levels of structure, right? So there's clearly a lot of selling pressure in this market now for gold, right? That's why it's a little bit riskier, you know, to try to catch a counter trend move here, as opposed to just allowing the market to do what it does and then just waiting for that sell. Now, if you're more experienced, then yeah, you know, just again, wait for what the market is doing. You know, if we're able to see the market come and just run these lows right here, right? If we can run these lows, guys, below this 1625 level and then rebound, I think that would be a good chance for us to actually go ahead and move higher, right? So let me just say that one more time for the people in the back. All right, again, for gold, I would like to see the market go ahead and run these lows. Whoops. All right, go ahead and run these lows. And if we're able to go ahead and run these lows, I'll start looking for some type of bullish momentum to come back above this level of structure. And then from there, you know, that could be an opportunity, guys, to go ahead and look for some higher pricing here, right? To go ahead and target back up into this 1638, 1639 level, right? So I think it looks very, very good for gold. I'm going to be very patient with this. If I'm awake and I see this actually happening, like it could happen during the stream, right? You never know. But if I'm awake during, you know, during the run of these lows, then I'm definitely going to be looking to buy that position up, guys, if it gives me what I'm looking for, right? So that's something I'm going to be paying attention to. I'm gonna be seeing what the market does give us. Let me go ahead and just take a quick look at what the MACD is doing. I see what the MACD is telling me. So nothing too crazy with the MACD. Um, yeah, nothing too crazy overall. I mean, we do have a lot of selling pressure that's been dying up, but for the most part, yeah, that's what I'll be looking for, guys. A spike below 1625 and a rebound. I'll be looking to go long for sure. All right, so that's definitely one that's going to continue to stay on my radar is this gold. We've been dominating against gold lately. Absolutely been just destroying her. So we're gonna
Yeah,
keep
could
going.
I actually it's funny, bro. The same thing that happened to you, bro, happened to me, except the move that took you out at break even is what I was profiting off of. Um so for those of you guys that don't know, I wasn't a buy, and there were a lot of people also in the buys from me from the 1623, 1624 area. Yeah, that peak low there, we kind of bought out of session yesterday. So we did kind of ride it up today. It was a nice push. Unfortunately for me, gold is the one thing I did not book any sort of partials on. I'm pretty sure I'm even still in the trade. It's flirted with my break even many times today. Yeah, my entry is still alive at 1624.57. I highly expect it to get stopped out. I've kind of just given up at this point. I just haven't taken the little bit of money that's sitting there. Yeah, so I actually had, not scaled out of this one at all. So I basically did the same thing you did without the 15% lock in of my position. Like this thing really ran for like 200 and something odd pips today from my entry, and it's just all the way back because again, I was trying to swing it, 200 pips was like not even 10% of what I was targeting. It just, it's a swing trade that didn't work. But yeah, just
Hmm.
this the same kind of thing. It's kind of interesting how we've caught so many pips on gold today. Like in the last 24 hours, um, there was just a lot of opportunities in this market. It's
Oh
kind of
yeah,
insane.
100%. There really is a
Like
ton.
200 pip swings both ways, bro. I mean, that's a lot of volatility.
Yeah, nah. I mean, it really is. There's a lot of opportunities. But the opportunities are literally more so a lot of day trading, short scalp opportunities, and that's what I've been doing lately. Because I've been a swing trader pretty much. I've been saying for a while now, but this whole year I haven't even. And historically, this has probably been the best time to really be a swing trader. But I haven't really been swing trading. All right, I just been getting in and out, grabbing that bag and getting the hell up out of there by the end of the day. So them intraday moves have definitely been, like this sell, right? This sell is just a nice quick intraday move, right? Which is why I was interested in it. I'm really not holding trades too long no more. Forget that. I'd rather just get in and continuously get out and get in. I don't know. It's been working for me for sure, bro. So, but yeah, it's.
Yeah, that was my mistake today. But I did lock in profits out in other places that were a little bit like I locked in profits on EU and Nasdaq. It just was
Hmm.
I kind of regret not taking some. Usually I'm a little smarter than that. Usually I'll take my 30%, but
Yeah,
today I didn't take
that's.
anything at all.
Bro, that's nuts.
Looking
200
at my
pips, bro.
position, like wow, I really
Yeah,
yeah.
you can't, bro, 200 pips and you ain't grab nothing.
I know. I usually do, bro. That's what I'm saying. I've been locked in stuff on EU and NAS, and it's just like I don't know. I don't know. I was also short GJ. I should have knew.
Word, I was gonna take a look at GJ next too for sure, cause I see what the
Yeah, let
hell's
me
been
know
going
what
on
you
over there.
see. Because actually I did for those of you that were on last night's call, all right, let me get some ones in the chat if you guys were on last night's call. I actually did a really in detailed um basically like weekly down on the trade that I'm currently in. I actually did end up grabbing an entry. I'll let Abel go through it, and then I'll kind of give you guys my thoughts afterwards. But
I mean, if you
yeah, if
already
you
got a,
guys were on the call last night,
if you got a play, then I'd rather you just go over that for sure, so we can all
no,
see
no,
it.
no, no. I want your opinion, bro.
Oh, I bet I could do that.
No, no, no. Go do your analysis. I want to see. I want to know what you see. I want to see
I
if it
bet.
aligns.
Say that, then I got you. I got you. Before I go there, though, let's see. Somebody had a question. Do you enter on the breakout of the range on the smaller time frames, Teach? So I think you're talking about this gold, since that was the only thing I was pretty much in. I mean, so very simple, guys. The only reason why I ended up really taking this trade, right, was because we've seen the market again extend way higher than I originally even wanted. But what we did do is we started to clear a lot of these highs to the left, right? We started to clear certain levels of structure to the left. So the clearing of the structure was key, but it's the rebound, right? It's the rebound on how we react from certain levels, guys, is the biggest thing that you're gonna really have to adapt to and learn, right? Learning how to read price action, guys, is literally all just you and your eyes, right? What are you seeing? How often do you see these things? So when we seen the market give us a strong pushback down, although we didn't break structure, which is typically what I like to see, I still ended up taking the trade, guys, literally off of, again, this pullback right here, right? Just because I felt like the risk to reward was just there. So on the smaller time frames, and again, this is the 1 minute time frame, right? These are smaller time frames, 1 minute, 3 minute time frames. But all I was looking for was just seeing how price reacted around the highs, and then taking advantage of it, when it made sense, right? So that's pretty much all I did there for gold. Literally, I mean, I'm still technically in this position, so we're gonna continue to hold that, see what happens. But who knows, right? Who knows? But yeah, let's go take a look at GJ. And let's go ahead and break down Jizzy J real quick, right? And see what we got here. So, I mean, I know at the beginning of the week, I've been telling you guys that I was just expecting GJ to potentially continue to run. I know I had mentioned that at the beginning of the week. I know I also did highlight. I'm not sure if I did at the beginning of the week, but I also did highlight, these lower imbalances, fair value gaps as well. That yeah, if we didn't run off the highs that we're currently at right away, that we're probably going to end up reaching towards there, right? And I mean, just the way price action's been looking, I mean, we're talking about these are daily candles, right? We've been up here now for around 4 or 5 days, right? And it looks like this momentum looks to be slowing down a little bit. So, in order for me to get involved, right? For me personally, if I'm looking for anything for GJ, I'm going to be looking probably down over near these levels, personally speaking, right? To see if we can go ahead and look for some continuations to the upside. And the reason why I'm looking at that level more so just because and it's not just directly this level. Like I would love to see a swipe of this low right here, right? If we can go ahead and see the market come back down to here, swipe down below these lows, and I think there is a good chance for us to go ahead and rebound and continue back bullish here for GJ. I'm not going away from GJ pound strength against the yen at least. I'm not going against it. So far, it's just been dominating this entire year. Although we have been pretty choppy over the past month or so, been very very choppy. This thing is still, I mean, it's still bound to continue going bullish in my opinion. So that would be the one opportunity I would be interested, right? If we're able to see price come down here, break around this 165, rebound, and then go ahead and go bullish off of that would be very very interesting. Right now we do have some short-term structure right here that the market is playing off of with this break of structure right here. Is it possible for that to continue like that? I mean, the market's going to do what it does. I'm not interested in something like that. Only way that I would take advantage of something like this on this perspective, right, is again I need to see a sweep of these lows, a rebound, and then go ahead and continue off of that, right? So that's what I would be interested to see. So those would be the two plays for me personally. A spike below this one, around this 167 could lead to some bullishness, or around this 165 can also lead to some bullishness, right? So that's how I'm gonna be playing GJ. Now what do you guys, Skags?
All right, so I mostly do agree with you, at least on that level being taken. So let me hijack this real quick. Right, so basically Abel's looking for Press to come down here before he starts to buy, which is cool. Because that's exactly where I'm looking to take some profits. Because we're trading down into that area. So like we discussed yesterday, right? GJ is, hold on, let me just go and erase some of this other stuff here that's just gonna be in the way of current price action. All right. So again, we have this weekly candle here, right? Which is again testing above liquidity. And we talked about how there's a lot of peak volume up here, and really just it's going to depend on what this week does, right? How this weekly candle closes, right? Does this close with some exhaustion, showcasing that it's going to come back down into the range, or are by the end of the tomorrow are we going to be back up top with a nice strong push to the outside? And we broke down the lower time frames yesterday, and we basically were looking at what's happening up in this range, right? Because there's going to be a footprint that's left here by, again, the bigger money on what their intentions actually are. And there was a few things that we discussed that's happening up here. One, on almost every rally to the upside, where you see a lot of buying activity, there's just no reaction from price, right? So here's a lot of buying effort in volume. And again, the candle did close up pretty nicely, but you can see a lot of sell volume came right in afterwards, stopping it in its tracks. There's no follow through on this candle, right? No major follow through, like just kind of minor, really choppiness. Exactly looks like what it is. People scaling out of positions up here. And just in every instance, the selling volume is higher than buyers, right? And buyers are really not able to capitalize on any sort of break above here. We also talked about how this is really efficient price action, right? There's no imbalances, inefficiencies, anything remaining open inside of here, right? It's just very efficient price sitting above really inefficient price. So just even off that logic, I'm always going to trade from the most efficient price areas to the most inefficient price areas. So knowing this is, again, especially after today, fully efficient, I'm going to assume that the market does want to come fill some of these inefficiencies down here. Again, aligning with what Abel wants to see on the 4 hour, where you kind of come in like fill out this wick. You guys can see my TP for my position is in this area. This is where I plan on, taking my first profits, because we are in this position from earlier. And we also discussed just the very simple price action patterns that happen here, right? How you were, and remember yesterday, this wasn't here, right? So we were like, basically, this is what we were working with yesterday. We were talking about the liquidity buildup here. We were talking about how there's also what consistent lower highs and how these patterns usually break to the downside. Now, I did say we probably were going to spike below this, and I said what I wanted to see was price come back above inside of these liquidity pockets. We also talked about the only remaining inefficiency, which was this. Again, we closed this today though, so it's no longer a concern. We talked about how we wanted to kind of just see price come up and test up here, and that as long as we didn't break above the high, because again, if we break above the high, we're talking about a little bit of a different story, especially if more buying activity comes in. That as long as we don't break the high or break this high, that I'm going to be bearish and looking for opportunities to go short, because again, this is about a 1-to-9 risk to reward ratio, right back down to these lows. And then if this works out on the weekly, right, there's always the possibility of this weekly liquidity here that did not get captured the last time we came down here. We just added even more. So again, fundamentally, there's no real reason to believe GJ is going to come down here, but I'm not looking at it from the current fundamentals in mind, right? We're also creating the highs up here. Like Liz Truss just resigned, right? That's like the fact that the market's seen that as bullish, right? We saw a really strong reaction at the pound today, right? When that happened. I mean, that was, well, hold on. Let me get rid of the bar replay real quick. Right, we saw a really strong reactions. Like this is basically when the headlines broke that Liz Truss was going to resign, or more or less inside of here. And this was at the secondary push, right? It was about 8 o'clock this morning, U.S. time, right? If that was so bullish for the pound and it really had a lot of impact, you would have assumed, especially against the yen, that this thing was probably just going to go and make a new high. But instead, all we did was again grab the liquidity pockets, and then now we're fading off pretty hard from that news. So that seems like a very climactic event. So that the fact that again that happened and we're now kind of erasing all of that move just makes me extremely happy for my potential shorts. So again, like the current fundamentals, yeah, don't necessarily support GJ coming all the way down here, but the future move isn't necessarily going to be based off the current fundamentals, right? The Bank of Japan could still step into the market. Sentiment can begin to. There could be reasons that come out. Remember, this is a weekly chart, so even if it sits up here for 2, 3, 4 weeks, that gives sentiment a little bit time to shift. And again, as you guys know, I've been talking about GJ since like over here, and I will continue to say this. I do expect in the coming months that the Bank of Japan will shift their monetary policy, right? As their inflation begins to slowly and continuously get worse, and it has been, right, for the past couple of weeks and months that we've been talking about this, the Bank of Japan will begin to look to shift. And this is one of the first times they shifted. So now that I already know they kind of began that move, again, I'm going to take these opportunities to try and swing trade, right? If this, and again, my job is done, right? I'm at break even. So it's not even like I have to do anything with this now. All I need to do now is just let the market do its thing.
and if the analysis is true, all I got to do is nothing. Right, my positions are in, I'm good. So yeah, we grabbed, I don't know how many people grabbed entries with this with me. I did tell you guys I was doing two things this morning with GJ. I said that I was going to go short in this area with 0.75% risk. Again, with my stop, I was using above the structure here. Right, that was my stop. It actually came really close to my stop, to be honest with you guys. I'm actually a little surprised. I was actually expecting to take a loss on this position. I even put on Instagram, I was like, yeah, I'm going to share the GJ loss we're about to take with you guys later, but I later never came. So yeah, I am in fact now blue on this. I also have another entry up here. I told you guys after we filled the wick, I would be looking for another entry. So after we filled the wick, and it kind of moved past the wick, I did take another entry. Again, it continued to push up towards my stop. Thankfully, never hit it. And then now we're just riding this back out. So yeah, I remain pretty bearish on this, man. I know Abel is not going to agree with me on the fundamentals. I know he will probably agree that a sentiment shift is possible, but again, based off current data, um, it is the unlikely option, right? It is the least likely thing to happen, but it's not 100% unlikely. It's like 35-40% unlikely, which is still pretty good odds. Still
Yeah.
pretty good odds.
I mean, especially with all the headlines that have been happening all day today, with the yen being, extremely, extremely weak, the dollar against the yen extremely high, whatever the case may be. I'm definitely starting to lean towards that shift happening soon as well, just off of the strength that, I mean, they have to do something at this point. Like,
Yeah, I mean UJ hit 150 today, and that's the
yeah,
first time since 1990.
that's what I'm saying.
So,
Like,
I mean, and you're right. Those headlines coming out might mean that we are near the peak because, again, what are they trying to do? They're trying to sucker in as many buyers as they can at these levels because the big money needs what, right? They need your
yeah,
liquidity
they need
to
exit
exit.
liquidity.
They
Yep.
need people to come and buy it at, 40-year highs because, they're not going to buy it at 40-year highs. They're done buying it. Trust me. No, there's no institution that is like Mac. I mean, there might be. I mean, there are institutions that are just wrong, but you know, like logically institutions aren't looking at this as like the best pricing for UJ, right? 150. I mean, just a couple months ago it was 114. Like this thing is almost doubled up, like a 50% gain, which is absolutely insane in a currency market. I hope you guys realize that. In the matter of 2 years, which is really what it is. Like we literally went from a retesting 100 to 150. That's it's again, it's hard to fathom unless again you've been here and you've seen it at 100. Like we were trading it down here.
I mean, that's just
We
also
were,
like
we were
very,
looking at this flag for so long to break out to the upside. Like
yeah, and it just looks like that's just now it's getting to a point where this run is unsustainable, bro. Like,
yeah, exactly.
and that's where we
And you
again
could
we
see
gotta
the
start.
volume is already lowering
Yeah,
too.
like we gotta start thinking not about completely shifting just shit, but having that idea in our head. Because again, we
Yeah.
do want to be early. Because if we are able to catch the reversal on this, then golly,
Yeah, UJ, I mean UJ is a little tougher. Like I said, like my belief in the yen pair switching, I will be honest with you guys, UJ will be the one to turn around last.
I agree.
Other yen pairs will like and again that's why I'm trading GJ, right? Like if you look at GJ, there's like this has been ranging on the daily for a very long time. That is not what UJ has been doing, right? There's a clear difference behind the strength. Like the dollar has way more strength behind it than the pound does. There's a lot of uncertainty around the pound right now. Again, I mean they're swapping through people over there like it's like a McDonald's down the street, like it's crazy. So there's a little bit different. And again, the white coffee in a way, this could be a UTAD. So the way that I trade tells me to pay a lot of attention because again, this is a one to whatever it is, 50. You're talking about like potentially a 2,000 pip plus trade. I'm paying attention. I'm here. I'm gonna take 15, 20, 50. Like I mean today I was risking 90 pips. I didn't care that I was risking 90 pips. I was looking at the 2000 pip TP, and it's not like it's a dream. It's not like me just dropping stuff anywhere. It's the way that I trade. It's 150% logical. So That doesn't mean it's right. There's times where, you get flash signals and, it's wrong, or even the market comes back and, knocks me at break even and then still goes. There's a lot of things that can still happen to take you out. But I'm in here. So if you guys are in this with me, again, trade it how you want to trade it, but I will be seeing what I can get on the macro.
I mean, so where's your next re-entry?
I mean, you're going into Friday trading. I
Cause
really wouldn't be looking to take it into a Friday,
yeah, cause
but
that's what me and the family in the chat is all. That's all we're thinking about right now. Like we get your valid
I
points,
mean,
but
like
where's
the
the
only
re-entry?
logical thing for me is like again because all of this up here is very efficient. So the question is like, and my worry again is like, what happens here? Like honestly, I might even remove my break evens because I don't want London to come fill this and take out my one position. I might even just put my risk back in because if I lose the 1.5%, like so be it. I had a fantastic week, a more than okay week. I was on fire all week. This would be like my second loss after a string of like 14 or 15 wins in terms of positions. So there's just no reason for me to like worry about taking the loss. However, I would tell you guys to watch in this imbalance, right? I'm just gonna answer the question. Like there is a bunch of liquidity that lives above here. I'm sure this does continue and drip down into like some of the earlier mornings, but if during London session you do get a little bit of a pullback and you wipe this liquidity here, I would begin looking for entries. This is a little bit of a wide imbalance, so there's two things that happen with a wide imbalance. It either just grabs the open of the imbalance, meaning it'll only like grab like right here and it won't really fill a lot of it, or it's gonna fill the entire thing and push even beyond it. So in this case, because you're again in a really efficient market, I would assume that they remain really efficient because they probably still have positions they want to get out. So I would imagine this does fill out. Again, that's why I want to put my stop back above this high. And I might even add a little bit of risk and just put it above this high because again, I don't even want to look at the markets tomorrow. I'm done. After tonight, that's it. I'm done. See you guys Sunday. Not even opening up in D4. I'm done. So yeah, I would tell you guys to look at something like this at like 169.25 would be like preferred if you're gonna hold this structure here, which we should. So then again, you guys can either run your stops right above this high, or you could be, super smart about it and just say, you know what, I'm gonna run the actual invalidation level, which would be 170.12. And if this gets right on and it drops, that's just really unfortunate and that sucks, but it is unfortunately always a risk. But due to the nature of this, I wouldn't be risking beyond that point. So again, you would be looking at something like an 86 pip stop, which again, for a lot of you, if you're the person that Abel was talking about at the beginning of this call, where you have a small 200, 300, 400, $500 account, this is just not the trade for you. Like you're not, you can't be dealing in an environment where you have this much. So maybe again, as price comes up here, if you create like lower time frame breaker structures and retests, kind of like what Abel saw earlier on gold, then you guys can tighten that up. But based off current information, I can't give you a stop loss like this, that's within structure because there's nothing here. I can't guess what exactly is going to happen here. I need to see it happen. So yeah, I would advise you guys to look at that 169.25 if you want to try to join me on this journey. And again, understanding the risks behind the trade, right? The yen is the probably the worst, what you would call like major currency. Obviously, there's worse, less liquid currencies that are out there, but the yen is a major currency. So
Yeah, nah, definitely. Definitely like that
UTAD,
outlook.
Warren, UTA stands for upthrust after distribution. It's the same thing as a spring and an accumulation. And if you don't know what that is, you're gonna have to just dig a little bit deeper into Wyckoff logic or DM me and I can break it down a little bit different. The haters say you bugging. That's cool. I don't trade for other people. I trade for myself and I share what I do.
I
All
concur.
right. What else we want to look at, bro? What else you have on your radar?
I
Um,
mean, I really didn't have too much. I was only really focused on that gold. That I'm just gonna keep on trying to play.
yeah, EU again, this is one that we were in this morning. Again, that's mostly come all the way back. I still have partial positions on this. Again, this is something that I had to close earlier. Is also when I should have closed gold, but I had to close it in this area here. Once we kind of broke this structure here, I was like, I gotta get out of this thing. Partially, again, should have did the same thing on gold, but I didn't. So I took my 30% here. I still have 70% of my position open, but again, this probably gets taken out. It is what it is. Should have taken more. We still do remain bullish on it. I'm still long from this area, still long from down here. It's just, this has already moved so much this week, a little bit of profit taking. Same thing with the NASDAQ. I had to exit a few of the positions that we had this morning from here, or actually, this was from like last night. We took this again, exited at the same time as EU on the breaks of structure. This all happened literally at the same time of day. It was like 1 o'clock. Yeah, 12 o'clock. It was like middle of the day, middle of the session. Had to exit 30%. Again, this came back, already took out those additional NAS positions. As you guys know, I still do remain long from 10,460, and also within this 10,682. But these new positions today did get taken out. And, when you have a new trend developing, or and you're trading against like the major trend, there's a few things that we could have like paid attention to, like the liquidity pocket here. We could have, this spike here above this structure should have gave me a little bit of a hint that, maybe we're already kind of forming our tops. We also had a lot of buy volume today that really didn't break us any higher. So again, this is probably going to find reasons to, even come and fill some of this before it maybe does continue up. And there's a chance it might not even. I mean, next week you guys might hear me come back in and we might be looking for sells on this stuff and just abandon the buys completely. Again, these were expected sell zones that I've been looking at for a long time. As much as I would like it to come up to 11,800, it doesn't have to. We are approaching November at this point. So maybe some of the bigger money is, already positioning themselves for that November Fed hike. I wouldn't be surprised. They're a week earlier than I thought they were gonna be. But again, I'm not the market maker. It's just my job to follow them. So yeah, that's just a little bit of an update on the trades we took. Oil, I remain in oil. Again, oil, I'm a little bit more bullish on. So I'll see what happens tomorrow if we break below these wicks. But if we break below these wicks, I'm probably just going to get knocked at break even. Again, this is one much like gold that I'm just trying to hold, right? I'm not really looking to pay myself on this. This is either or do or die. I want to see what happens as we break above this liquidity. Again, we talked about this. I did tell you guys to take 30% if we came above or at this level. So hopefully you guys did. I personally didn't because, again, much like gold, I made the mistake of just wanting to hold it. Again, I may regret that. If it is what it is, if that's the case. But this was a banger trade. You guys should have took 30%, should have closed some out. If you didn't, and you still want to, again, that's up to you. But now that we kind of built up more liquidity here and we've come and kind of ran on this range, I wouldn't be surprised again if we might get one more push below these wicks, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do hold and maybe continue to move up. That's my hope anyway. Again, we'll see. I'm not trading tomorrow. If I come back Sunday and I'm stopped out of it, so be it. It is what it is. But yeah, that's all I really have, family. Let's check the chat. Let's see. Can I look at GU? I could take a look at it. Bullish USD. Yeah, it might time to start looking for again that continuation in EU, GU, and all that other fun stuff. But we'll explore that Sunday. We'll have to see how the week closes tomorrow. Today might have just been a little bit of a one-off day. What is the best candle to look for when you see a reversal on a chart? That is, I'm not sure I completely understand the question. There's a lot of different candles that produce reversals. I mean, order block retests produce reversals, continuation blocks produce reversals. There's a lot of other patterns that also produce or can produce reversals. So that's a little bit of a broad question to cover on here. Can I hear your thoughts on USD CAD? Yeah, Abel, you want to go over GU or USD CAD, or you want me to do them?
I mean, I'll
Do you
go
have any
over.
opinion on either of those?
Yeah, I'll go over. You can go over those two because I want to actually touch on EA Euro AUD because I know earlier today that a bunch of people were asking about it and it actually played out really well. So you can touch on those and I'll cover Euro AUD.
Okay. I mean, GBP USD guys is really not going to be too much different for me than EU because this is may as well be just the same chart. Um, so let's see what we have. All right. So I mean, going over what happened today again, this is the same thing that happened on EU, right? This came down, captured a little bit of liquidity below here, right? Grabbed this, held structure, pushed up, closed what looks to be the only area of inefficiency, right? So again, everything from here to here was efficient, right? Left to this area of imbalance that we captured today. And we did so on higher buying effort. So again, the first thing that I see on this is just, more reason for it to move to the downside, right? You have, bearish market structure flow with the lower highs. You have the inefficiency filled. You have high effort to the buy side, meaning there is high volume that came into the market on these candles, right? Again, if I put the vertical line on that candle, you could see that's some of the highest buying activity, but we didn't really break into anywhere, right? So this means that, again, a lot of money was exchanged up here, right? And they used that liquidity to, again, scale out. This is buy side absorption, and then the market kind of fell down. So I would expect this to kind of continue. I would expect something like this out of London, again, where this kind of continues up into some of these more inefficient areas. Again, possibly a little bit deeper of a pullback with the lower time frames to find out. But then I would expect this to fill over and again come and capture more of the liquidity that sits below these lows and obviously fill out, these inefficiencies, right? So trading from the efficient price action towards the inefficient price action. This also aligns with what I'm looking at on GJ, right? So if this works out the same way, so the fact that I see this on EU, I see this on GU, and I see the potential for the same logical play on GJ, that tells me that, either I'm vastly wrong on all three, or that's the most likely thing to happen. So again, this is just a mirror image of EU most days, right? Which you guys will also understand as you trade more and more, right? That a lot of this stuff you could just analyze one thing, and then you'll find that your same bias applies to just multiple markets. So USD CAD we also talked about last night on the stream. Basically, the only thing that we highlighted about this was that we had a bunch of liquidity built up here. We had a discontinuation block and this wick fill. And basically it just came to the conclusion that I'm a seller around 138.45, and that I wouldn't want to see price push higher than 138.75. We also talked about how there was this wick fill and then some of the inefficiencies that lie over here, which we're using as our targets. But I really want to just bring your attention again today with the fact that we grabbed a little bit of liquidity here, happened on higher sell volume, and then now this whole push afterwards is, very low buying volume. And if you guys were on the call again this morning when I went over, the basics of volume, right? I told you guys when you see a break of structure like this and you see higher selling activity, and this is some of the higher selling activity that we've seen in some time, right? And then the follow through on the buy side is very weak, right? We could expect that sellers will take control again in the future, right? So if you combine that with the fact that if we push above these highs and there's no buyers in that market, we're going to strike this at 138.45 for the sell. All right. And if all of that sounds very foreign to you, that's okay. Just keep in mind the idea is I'm looking for shorts at 138.45 with a stop loss of around 138.80. And then I'm targeting a minimum of 135.58 for a grand total of a risk to reward ratio of 1 to 9. So I still really like this setup from last night. Again, if you guys needed to go deeper, you guys have yesterday's call that you guys could always reference as well, where we originally went over this analysis. But yeah, we just created more liquidity today, and we got a little bit of a sign of weakness, a sign from the sellers here. So I do like this 138.45. And in an ideal world, as much as I hate to admit it, but this 138.75 would be a really, really nice entry as well. I question its ability to get up there right now. Again, this is not a limit order, right? So just because it moves up here doesn't mean I will immediately take the trade. It's what happens in this area ultimately that leads me to enter the market, right? So just because I put this here, don't just like the second it touches, be like, oh, Skag said to sell. No, Skag told you to pay attention to what happens up here. And then if you get things like live OBs and the volume supports it, then you take the trade. Right. And if you don't understand that stuff, continue to hop on the live trading sessions with us in the morning. And again, it will begin to make more sense because you'll see me actually execute off it. But Abel, I think that's all I got, bro. So if you want to take over and go over actually, let me just check chat real quick. It doesn't look like there's anything in there. So why wouldn't you anticipate any of the efficient price action being liquidated before the move? Is efficient price similar to protected price? So what are you asking? You're asking if I see efficient price action. Well, let me go to something that's more efficient, like GU. I'm sure you're referencing GU. You're asking why I wouldn't expect like this high to get taken. Again, I mean, there's always that risk, but when you're trading off of efficient markets, right? Once a market is fully efficient, and you're getting reactions like this after the efficiency is filled, right? The most logical thing, again, if you tap into that idea that markets are always working in a way to make themselves efficient, right? If you subscribe to that logic, because you have to have that belief. That has to be a core belief of your trading plan is I believe that markets move from efficient price areas to inefficient price areas. If you don't believe that in your heart, then none of this will even remotely matter to you, right? But that is what I believe in my heart, right? I believe that. I've seen proof of it in markets, and that's all I need, right? So whether you do, you have to answer that question for yourself. But once you see a really efficient price action, again, the most logical thing is that it moves towards the next area of inefficiency. That doesn't mean it necessarily has to happen right away. You can still come and grab some liquidity, right? You can like fill out this wick, you could play in this liquidity pocket, but you're still trading from efficient towards the inefficient, right? So the fact that there are inefficiencies that lie, right inside of here where price has not been since we created these quote unquote inefficient moves, you want to trade, from the most logical spot in this area to the most logical inefficient area. So again, it's just subscribing to a logic. It's like saying, why do you trade in the directions of your moving averages? Well, that's because you believe that the moving averages signify momentum and signify trend, or you're subscribing to that logic. You're accepting that as a belief. So like that's why you would do it, right? Because again, it's a market belief. It's like asking me why I trust volume. It's like, well, I've seen it with my own eyes. So hopefully that makes sense, bro. Again, Abel, bro, you could take over. That's all I got for today. Definitely appreciate you all. I don't know if I will be hopping back on specifically, but if there's a question, I will. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night.
Yes, family. Yes, family. Yes. Definitely appreciate the boy Skags. One thing that you know for a fact you're gonna get from that man is some next level education, some real detailed reasons behind why he's, has that thought process. So definitely appreciate you, bro. But guys, again, the one that I want to take a look at as well is Euro AUD. This is actually something that somebody recommended earlier today. At least they were asking for the opinions of it. Now, again, I did not take this trade whatsoever. I just didn't do it. But it actually played out exactly how we expected it to on yesterday or this morning's call, guys. So I can't remember who actually called out Euro AUD. But hopefully they were able to actually take this, right? We were looking for the buys all the way down here. Price literally came right into that price point and gave us literally 100 pips right off of that level, right? So what can we do now, or what can we do next for Euro AUD, right? Well, Euro AUD, guys, just from a bigger perspective, like I really want to see this thing come up to the 1.58 level, right? Like I really, really want to see price come up to that 1.58 level. So I'm still going to be looking for price to make its way up there, So this was a really great reaction, just to really help my confidence out a lot more. Shows that we clearly are getting some demand for the euro. So I think now there could be a nice opportunity if we pull back down a little bit to go ahead and potentially target, that move right back on up to the upside, guys. So, for tonight, again, this might be something that could play out tonight. A little bit of a wider stop just to be safe, but I think we can really get some good opportunities here, all right, on Euro AUD, right? Looking for that continuation to the upside, okay? And the reason why I'm looking at this level right here, I mean, very simple, guys. It is a level of structure in the past that has, been a level of influence, right? It's been a point of interest, and I think that we could start to see price, play around this level again. Right now, again, I'm not going to be setting no pending order or anything like that, guys. But what I will be doing is I'm going to be monitoring this, right? Once price does start to come down towards this level, guys, you got to start reading what the price action is doing, right? Are we starting to slow down like previous times in the past, right? Like, what is it doing, right? Even if we run this level, what happens next? Did the market, again, if I'm looking for a buy off of this, right, then what I want to see, even if we do run this level, I want to see an immediate, pushback above, right? Because that pushback above is going to be my trigger, right? That's my trigger right there, right? I'm in there. I'm taking that position, right? So it's all about highlighting the points of interest, guys, and then just reading price to see exactly what it does, right? That's why I think trading is so difficult, just especially for newer traders, is because, I mean, you lack the experience right now, right? The only way you'll be able to really get good at reading price is by experiencing it, right? Like actually watching, it happen over and over and over and over again, right? That's why we talk about putting in your work, right? Putting in those hours, right? Because the more time you're on the chart, the more time you're actually back testing, the more patterns and the more repetitious moves you'll be able to identify, right? And once you start getting comfortable with identifying those moves, it's really, really going to take your trading to the next level for sure, guys, right? So overall, like I said, this was definitely a very good play here that actually ended up playing out. Again, I did not take the trade, right? I don't say I took things and I didn't take it at all. But it was interesting to come back to it and actually see that it actually ended up playing out literally on the button, right? So that was absolutely amazing. Now, let me go ahead and see what we got here with the chat. Let's see. I did this morning. It was me. Okay, shout out to Eric. And Jacob, what's going on? Let's see. Pulled it off Starboy's Insta story earlier in the week. Okay, shout out to that boy Starboy. Yeah, I mean, this was a banger, right? It really was a banger. I wish I would have put more emphasis, or I wish I would have put this pair higher in the level of importance for me. But I don't really trade Euro AUD as often as I used to, right? But we might, because Euro AUD, guys, is a fast-moving currency pair. So next play, yeah, if we can see price come back to this 1.554 level, I'll start looking for some opportunities to go ahead and ride this thing higher. Now, if you guys are in this position already, obviously, protect yourself, right? Roll your stops to break even. Do what you got to do, right? Pay yourself. You're already up 100 pips. Do not do what I did, right? Do not do what Skaggs did, right? How we mismanaged a couple positions this week, right? Where we're up 100, 200 pips and we don't close nothing, right? Like, that's literally just a waste of a day and a waste of a trade and a waste of your time, right? So make sure you do start to pay yourself, guys, right? Especially if you're up, a considerable amount of pips. Take something, right? I was grateful I only took 15%, right? I mean, it is only 15, but still, it was something, right? So get in the habit of doing that, So protect yourself, close some partials, and, see what we can get next, right? But I really, really like the opportunity to go long here, guys. So that's what I'm going to be keeping my eyes on as well now. For tomorrow. I'm not sure if I am going to trade tomorrow. Again, it is Fridays. I typically don't usually trade, but you never know, right? We'll see what happens tomorrow for sure. Right, but besides that, family, again, I do appreciate you guys so much. This is going to be the end of the day recap. Hopefully, you guys have been gaining a lot of value, guys, from these end of the day recaps that we are doing now. Just to pretty much recap how New York session pretty much went for everybody. And just to continue to educate and provide you guys with massive, massive value. So if you guys are on this call right now, family, and if you guys do want to go ahead and access the New York session streams that we actually host every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, just go ahead and join the Profit Society community, right? The Profit Society social platform at profitsociety.co. It is a social platform for traders, built by traders, and you could get access to all the live trainings, guys, and the live calls right on that platform, right? So definitely go ahead and check that, profitsociety.co. I guarantee you'll actually be surprised on how cool it actually really looks, right? And this is just the beta. Watch when we actually launch how you guys are going to be surprised, guys, when we actually launch once everything is actually showing, right? It's going to be next level, right? But for the most part, we do appreciate you guys. I love you guys so much. Thank you guys for rocking with us today. We will be back on Sunday, guys. Actually, I might be back tomorrow with y'all, right? I'm going to be live tomorrow, but it's going to be on my specific channel, right? My personal channel. So I will be live on my personal channel tomorrow, right, for New York session. And if not New York session, it will be sometime throughout the day, you know, just because I do want to stay active over there as well, right? So, family, I do appreciate y'all. I love you guys. Thank you guys for rocking with us. And, yeah, we'll talk to you guys soon. Let's get it. Have a great rest of y'all day.